Each side starts off with 8 pawns along its second rank. For example, if you flip the board here, you'll see that the black pawns are also up on its second rank, even though it's on rank number 7. From black's point of view, you start counting, from each player's point of view, you start counting from your home side towards the center of the board. So the black pawns here are on black's second rank, while the white pawns are on white's second rank. Now, pawns cannot go backwards. They only move forward, and they move forward one square at a time, except on their first move, they have a choice of moving either one square or 2 squares. So here we could play e4, e6, d4, and d5. Now, even though pawns move forward along the files, they can't go backwards, they can't move along the ranks, but they capture along the diagonals. So each pawn, even though it moves forward, it can go 2 squares on its first move, and then after that it can only move 1 square. They will capture along the diagonals. That's where the threats are as far as pawns are concerned. All right, so d5 was played. It's white's turn, and I'm going to capture on d5. And now the pawn on e6 can capture the white pawn on d5. And the material is once again even. Now the white pawn on d4 and the black pawn on d5 are blocking each other. They're not threatening each other. They can't capture each other. They're blocking. So they're stuck. And unless something comes along and helps them out, they're going to stay there for the rest of the game. They're not going to be able to move at all because they can't go backwards. They can't go to the side. And they can only move along the diagonals if there's something to capture. So let's make a few more moves here. It's white's turn, so I'm going to move a pawn up here to f4, h6, f5, and now I'm going to make a double jump, this g pawn on g7 all the way to g5. Now whenever you make a double jump and it passes the square that's attacked by a pawn on an adjacent file, that particular pawn that's attacking that square has the choice of capturing on that square on the very next move. And this is called capturing in passing, or the French term is in passant, or en passant, or something like that. The idea is that in this particular case, if white takes advantage of it immediately, they have to do it on the very next move. They can't wait until some other move. They have to do it the very next move. They can capture the black pawn, this white pawn, on f5, can capture the g5 pawn as if it had only moved to g6, like so. Let's go ahead and make the capture. So it would be f takes g6, and now this f pawn can also capture on g6. So that's called capturing in passant. Let's look at it in another way here. b4, g5, b5, and now if black plays a5, we can capture on a6. Let's go back. Or if he played c5, we have a choice here. We could capture on c6, Or we could capture on c5 with our d pawn. It's our choice. But it has to be done, the impassant capture has to be done on the very next move. You can't wait till 2 moves later, for example. Now, so let's say we captured on c6. And black has a choice here. He could take us back, or he could ignore us. I don't know why he would, but let's say he did. And there was nobody else to stop us. We could continue moving down the c file all the way towards c8. b5, c8. And when you get to c8, you can turn into another piece. Most people choose a queen. But the truth is it could be a queen, or a rook, or a bishop, or you could turn it into a knight. Any one of those. But guess what? Most people choose a queen. Why do you think? Because the queen's the most powerful piece. But there are some circumstances when a queen is not what you want. And we'll cover those in some more advanced lessons. But briefly, I'm going to tell you there are certain circumstances where if you turn it into a queen, you wouldn't be able to win the game. You might get a draw, for example. So there are certain circumstances where a rook is what you need. And there are other circumstances where a knight is preferable, or would actually be exactly what you need to win the game.